I worked at Subway in college, and a dramatic bisexual love triangle happened between a manager and 2 employees.
Huh? What?
Welcome back to Delve Deck Stories. I'm Tess, this is Gabe, and today we are going to be reading some of your crazy coworker stories. Our first story comes from Olivia, and she's responding to the question, describe the worst person you've ever had to work with, from the original deck. I worked at Subway in college, and a dramatic bisexual love triangle happened between a manager and 2 employees.
Huh? What?
Classic Subway. We all know the story.
That's like such a specific detail off the top. It happened in a Subway. I mean, didn't need it, but now I'm even more interested.
Now you can picture it.
Yeah. I'm like, before, not so much. Now I'm like, I had very vivid detail.
They all, and you can smell it.
Yeah, no, the bread, everything, it all mixes together.
When I first started working there, this manager, let's call her Jane, was pretty strict and uptight. Like if you were ever late, instead of pulling you aside and talking to you, she'd scream at you in front of everyone. She took her job really seriously, which I thought was weird because it's just sandwiches. It's not that big of a deal. It's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if these are just sandwiches.
You're a sandwich artist.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Olivia. Anyway, eventually Jane ends up getting a divorce. That's when everything changed. I now get that a divorce can be pretty world-shattering, but as a 19-year-old, I was like, what on earth is happening? She was always out partying with employees after work and regularly showed up late and hungover. Then, at some party after work, she ended up hooking up with one of the male employees, Tim. Obviously, anywhere else this would be a problem, but it was a Subway in a college town, so no one really cared. Everyone heard about their escapade after the party and assumed that was going to be it. But then they started hooking up in the bathroom at work, which got really weird.
Subway. Eat fresh.
Bathroom. I don't know that that's the place I would pick. You have a car.
Yeah.
You got other places.
I'm also sure this woman has a home or an apartment.
Places that you live.
You know, just like a normal place with a bed.
Yeah. Honestly, outside. Anywhere else.
Not the bathroom.
This went on for weeks. Then one night, this new female employee, Sarah, invited everyone to a party at her place. She lived at a house close to campus, and it was a full-on rager. Of course, Jane and Tim were making out all over the place. It was kind of gross and uncomfortable, but whatever. So I'm just enjoying this party, and at some point, need to go pee. I go into the bathroom, and there's Jane and Sarah going at it. I was like, sorry, and closed the door. Obviously, I told some of my friends. Oh my God. Obviously, I told some of my friends. What else was I going to do? And by the time the party ended, everyone knew about it.
By the time the party ended, everyone was hooking up.
Everyone was
in the
hooking
bathroom.
Up in the bathroom. This Jane loves a bathroom.
She's a dirty girl. Clean me up.
I don't...
It's pretty
I guess
weird.
At a party...
I also want to know, what's the age difference of these people? Like, we're in a college town, so I'm going to assume... early 20s,
22, let's say.
I was saying benefit of the doubt. I was giving them early 20s.
All right.
But the manager, she was married. I don't know, so that could be anywhere in 20, 30s.
It could really,
60s.
60s, who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, unclear about this. I don't know, Jane. I don't know.
Don't like it.
So I go into work the next day, and Jane approaches me and is like, why the f*** did you tell everyone about that? I tried to play it dumb, like, oh, someone else must have found out. That definitely wasn't me. Solid. Nice. But she obviously didn't believe me. What else did she expect, though? That I was going to keep it a secret? A few hours later, Tim and Sarah started their shifts. Awkward. Tim goes into the back and just starts yelling at them and crying. Like you could hear it all the way at the front of the store, and customers were looking concerned. He tells Jane that he really liked her and he's done with her, and Jane is like, you knew what this was. Then Jane ends up going home early because she says she's feeling sick. Sure, whatever.
Okay.
All right, Jane. We see you. So at first, Tim is being really passive-aggressive and mean, throwing customer sandwiches together like the bread was the one who hurt him. The customers are just
imagine
like,
him just crying into the bread.
yeah,
they're like, oh, this is a
extra
little
salt.
too salty. Yeah.
I could tell that Sarah felt really bad, and she was trying to be really nice to him. The whole day was so uncomfortable, and I was like, I'm just trying to make sandwiches here. Can we all get over it? Anyway, my shift ended before Tim and Sarah's, and at that point, they had gotten over their beef and were actively flirting with each other.
Oh my God.
I remember thinking, why is this Subway so horny? Also, why is no one trying to hook up with me?
Is it me? What did I do?
She's like, I am also available to be
Who
a part
knew?
of this,
Yeah.
whatever this is.
Who knew Subway sandwiches were like an aphrodisiac,
I know. It was all that yoga mat material.
Uh-huh.
I wonder when this happened. A Subway, I feel like Subway smells kind of good,
Yeah, I mean, like, I go to Subway. Usually I'm like, I need something quick. I'll just go to the Subway in the neighborhood.
Yeah, it's
Be
a
like,
good
great.
road trip food, maybe.
Oh, yeah, easy. It's
And it always gets me going.
oh, boy, does it. I'm like, my whole body's tingling.
All right. Yeah. Who needs Viagra when you have Subway?
Who needs Viagra or Cialis when you've got Subway sandwiches, $5 footlong, eat
Ooh,
fresh.
$5 footlong.
I feel like there's so many
in the name.
taglines. It's all in there, leading someone to go like, oh yeah, they all got horny at a Subway? Makes total sense.
Of course they did. All right. Fast forward a week later.
Oh, this story's not even done?
No. No.
It keeps going.
Fast forward a week later, Tim and Sarah have been flirting like crazy in front of everyone and are now Facebook official dating. All right, so this happened a while ago.
Yeah. Who knows? Who knows? But probably.
Yeah. How did that happen so quickly? I have no idea. But Jane was not happy about it. She starts trying to be like, employees really shouldn't be dating each other.
Of course. The superior's like, oh,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, if you think about it, she's kind of like Cupid, a little matchmaker.
Yeah.
She's
she
like,
just hooks up with people in bathrooms and brings them
she's
together.
she's like the Venn diagram, the
Yeah.
center, and it brings them together, and then she like just leaves.
It's a beautiful love story.
Meanwhile, the other employee's just like, anyone gonna
hook up with me? Jane's like, not
at any
you.
point? Yeah.
Not
no,
you.
no, not the
Excuse me? As if she had any right to say that. Jane starts going back to her old ways, getting really mad and writing people up for the tiniest mistakes. Then, about a month into Sarah and Tim dating, Sarah has another really big party that everyone except Jane was invited to. We're all drinking and having fun when who shows up? Yep, Jane.
Classic.
Already wasted and ready to start a fight. She, of course, confronts Sarah and Tim and is crying and yelling. Tim is getting really mad, and Sarah is trying to calm them both down. I really do want to know the age of this woman.
Like, I feel like it'll add so much detail to what's going on here.
It's either going to be, like, mildly problematic, like you're their manager, but okay, or it's going to be like, oh, no.
Yeah.
At this point, I decide to leave to go to a different party some of my friends were at. When I came into work the next shift, the place was abuzz. Did you hear what happened at the party? No. They all had a threesome. What?
Oh, my God.
I hope it was in the bathroom.
I really do hope. I mean, it's got to be,
It
right?
had to have been.
Like, she hooks up with him in the bathroom. She hooks up with her in the bathroom. They hook up with each other in the bathroom.
In the bathroom. Wow. After this, Jane ended up quitting or maybe got fired. I have no idea.
I wonder why.
I have no idea. She was gone within days. It was by far the weirdest work environment I've ever experienced. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, people do be hooking up at minimum wage jobs because what else are you going to do?
Honestly, it's like, it's pretty, I guess we'll say, easy job to maintain certain things. So you're like, a lot of, I mean, like a Subway. Subway, there's not a lot of foot traffic coming through, right? You might get a couple people, during lunch hour,
campus,
maybe some, campus maybe more, but at the same time, I would imagine there's like not a lot of activity all the time.
You got time to hook up.
30-minute hookup sesh in the closet, in the bathroom,
There's
also,
lots of spaces in a booth. Who cares?
Also, why the bathroom? Why does Jane not have an office that they can hook up in?
I don't know.
That has like
I've
a
never
lock?
been into the back room of a Subway, so I couldn't tell you.
I have a feeling like there's probably a back office. Like it'd be more appropriate to do it there.
She likes bathrooms.
Okay, maybe she does. I don't know. Weird stuff. But
okay.
I wonder if those other two are. I wonder if they're still together.
They're married now,
and
they have a baby named Jane.
And another one on the way called Subway.
Yeah. Our next story is from Taylor, and the question is, describe the worst person you've ever had to work with from the original deck. I graduated during a recession and took a customer service job I wasn't thrilled with, but I needed the money. I first became aware of Nathan because the guy brought these little cartons of milk to work, so the break room fridge had all these little cartons of milk with his name written on them in Sharpie. Don't love that. People who drink milk as an adult scare me.
I haven't had milk since I was 5 years old, so...
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Also, little cartons of milk remind me of grade school.
Yeah, exactly.
And I remember having to be one of those like kids who brought the milk carton crate to classes to be like, oh, you got a chocolate milk, you got a regular milk. And I wanted...
That freak who got strawberry? Are you about to say that you were strawberry?
No, I was not strawberry. Again, I'm in grade school. I stopped when I was 5. It's like, you're not even listening to my story. No, I would deliver the milk to different classrooms, but the fridge freezer that it was in, because milk had spilt inside and no one really ever cleaned it, it was just always just a huge waft of like spoiled milk.
No. I don't like that.
Neither did I.
One day he was in the break room microwaving one of his milk cartons.
Why would
do that at home?
Why would you do that? Like, what kind of insane psychopath are you?
I don't know. I guess maybe people do that if they make hot chocolate, but you do that at home. Again, I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just saying trying to...
I don't know. That's some weird stuff, dude.
Especially at work.
Yeah.
When I came to get some coffee, he looked at me and said, "Oh, look out, the caffeine devil's got you." All right, so he's just weird.
Yep.
I think he thought he was being funny, but then started prattling on about starting his day off right with a nice warm glass of milk and suggested I try doing the same.
No.
Nope.
Yeah, that's like psychopath behavior.
That's a hard pass for me.
Like, this guy's a serial killer.
Definitely. My next encounter with him was in a staff meeting. Our manager was saying something about a new refund policy, and Nathan interrupts with, "Can we punish customers if they are naughty?"
Just want to say this again. Sounds like he's a serial killer.
He's like, "Could I take them back to my dungeon?
Can I make them drink my warm milk?"
Yeah. The manager goes, "What do you mean by that?" Nathan replies, "Like, if they say bad words on the phone, maybe we can just blast a little siren at them." The manager laughs it off like, "Oh, Nathan, you're so silly." And continues like it's a joke, but I was sitting there silently like, WTF.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be like, how many small animals have you killed?
Quite a few. Lures them in with the warm milk. I only lasted at this job for about 4 months because the job generally sucked, but Nathan made it so much weirder. Other bizarre things the guy did while I worked there. One, suggested we start a prayer circle for our customers and relayed a story about some lady in Houston who needed gallbladder surgery who he was already praying for.
Sounds like a scam.
Yeah. Why he got into this on the phone with customers, I will never know.
He would say that to customers?
Yeah, she's a customer that he's praying for.
No. But he would get into that with customers on the phone.
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird.
I will say, having worked in customer service, sometimes customers just offer this information up.
Yeah.
They do love
but
to
customer support?
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're calling in for support. They're
I can see
mad.
someone else who's like, I want to vent about this, and I go into some tangent. But if you're the person who's like, I got a script I got to go to, or like go through,
How
and then
do
he's
you
like,
end up in gallbladders?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. 2, loudly sang to himself every time he used the restroom. So if you walked by the men's room, you could hear him belting out tunes anytime he was in there. He's trying to cover up some noises.
He's like, I'm not taking a tinkle.
3, brought a ferret into the office on Bring Your Daughter to Work Day because he reasoned that the ferret was basically his daughter and he wanted her to see what he does all day.
I mean, I said dead animals before, but this is an alive one.
He's just a weird dude.
This guy has all the signs of, again, a serial killer.
Yeah, I understand being like, oh, my pet is my child and I take care of them. I don't know that they need to come to work with you.
Especially one that's like a rodent.
Ferret.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Although a ferret on a leash, pretty cute.
You know they're illegal in California?
A ferret?
Yeah.
Yeah, same with hedgehogs.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But I know where you can get one. 4, brought a Bluetooth speaker to work so he could blast praise music in the break room while slurping his warm milk. All right, he lost me again.
Oh, God, you amazing. And then he's just drinking warm milk.
And
like
he's
this
holding
is
up his ferret.
Yeah, it's so weird. And then you're like, oh, wait, is this like some sort of cult ritual? Like a...
Yeah, definitely. 5. Distributed Valentine's Day cards to everyone at the office, like the kind you buy for grade schoolers to give their classmates. He gave me a card with oranges on it that said, "Aren't you glad we're friends?" All right, he might be winning me back again.
Oh my God.
I want that.
Like, this might be like a child in an adult's body.
Definitely. This is definitely a child who wished to be big.
Yeah.
And he accidentally ended up.
Nope. He just happened to stumble upon this job one day and they're like, "You're hired." And then he shows up and he gives the weirdest responses and does the weirdest things. But you're like, but if I were a kid, that might make sense. Mm-hmm. You've got a little rodent pet. You are, self-conscious about going to the bathroom. You have warm milk. I think he's a kid.
I think he's definitely a kid. To this day, he was the weirdest person I've ever met. At least half my motivation to get away from that job was getting away from him. Yeah, no, he's a weird dude. Okay. Our next story is from Dana, and the question is, describe the worst person you've ever had to work with from the original deck. My first boss after I left my husband. She hired me on as assistant manager in a retail store, knowing I had no managerial experience. She proceeded to find something wrong with my work performance nearly every week, often in the form of complaints from one or more of the employees, who, of course, never said anything to me directly. That sucks. Mm-hmm. I was already under tremendous stress from the impending divorce and custody issues, and after a couple months of this, I was worn down. She wanted me to quit immediately. You can fire people, I think. I don't know. I offered a week's notice so I wasn't suddenly cut off from most of my income. I had a second job at this point, which she suggested to me, in fact, as she knew of my situation. And that was something she held against me too, but it wasn't enough to support me on its own.
What?
I don't know. It sounds like she's like, you should get another job to help you out financially. Why do you have a second job?
It was your suggestion.
Yeah.
I did the thing you said.
Did the thing. The last day before my scheduled day, the zipped and locked deposit bag I took to the bank was $10 short. She had closed the night before and was the one who put the money in it. She accused me of stealing and fired me. Soon as I left, she found the money in a drawer, the same drawer where I had put my badge when I walked out, and there was no money in there. So she's just trying to frame her? I feel like she's already quitting. Why do you need to do this?
But then it also gives me the idea like she, quote unquote, framed her with a missing $10 and then finds it. And
so it's obviously not stolen.
Right. And I don't know if in the rest of the story if they're going to come back and she's like, "Oh, okay, you can come back to your job." Like, there's a part of me that that's the type of this like manipulation kind of mind
I fired
games.
you, come back. You're fired again, come back.
It's a very toxic relationship, it sounds like.
Yeah, and that's not all. She didn't like me working there at the outlet mall anymore. Told everyone I was a thief. Was her second job at the outlet mall? I don't think that was said before. All right, anyway. Told everyone I was a thief and told mall security she was afraid I would vandalize her stupid sports car. She was also one of those people who took up 2 parking spaces just so no one left fingerprints on the fucking thing.
God.
Those people are the worst. Those people make me so mad.
Those people, I feel like there are people who are very petty and they will squeeze into a part or like a parking space without the care of like, oops, I scratched my own car. They're like, I'm gonna screw over your car.
If it's a nice car and they're parking I might be that person.
You're like, have fun getting out of the space.
I like, oh, wow, you really needed all that room, didn't you? Well, guess what? I didn't. That was the last straw. I wrote a letter to her district manager explaining what had happened and that I wanted her to leave me alone. She went mysteriously quiet after that. The crazy bit was that when I had gotten my second job had just fired an employee for shoplifting. After I came on, the only time we had disappearing merchandise was if a customer took it. And that didn't happen often. Hell, on the day I was fired from first job, I was due a paycheck from second job. Yeah, I'm gonna steal $10 when I'm about to be given between 70 and 80. Give me a break. Fair. Also, you found the $10.
Yeah, she found the $10, so it wasn't justified to fire you. And so the fact that you're getting framed as a person who steals from the company.
Yeah.
The business.
Second job's manager loved me, and I actually moved up the ranks some before I moved on. And the only reason I did was I needed to carpool with my boyfriend because my car was dead. If I'd been able to stay, I'd have made store manager in another year or two. I didn't mention first job in any situation where I applied for work after that because it's always your word against theirs. I needed to eat and not be homeless, you know? Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I feel like if you have a terrible job and it didn't last very long, you don't have to put that on your resume.
Nope. And they're like, oh, what's this gap for? And you're like, you know what? Just me time.
I was learning.
Yeah.
Our final story is from Danny. The question was, what was your last straw with someone you stopped speaking to? From the original deck. I'm a bartender, and one of my first gigs was at this restaurant. The whole place was run down. We hardly ever had any customers, and when we did, they tipped horribly because the food was terrible. Still, it was a job, and I was getting experience bartending, so I could hopefully go work somewhere nicer. The turnover at this place was incredibly high because, in addition to the horrible tips, the manager was the worst. Classic. She was always screaming at us and putting us down, saying the customers' complaints were our fault because of our terrible service. On top of that, there was a major rat problem in the storage room. It was disgusting. Okay.
Not surprising, though I am surprised at the fact that it's still open.
At this point,
if
yeah.
the food is terrible, all those
health
things, and then the rats, at that point I'd be like, nope,
yeah.
done.
How is it?
Yeah.
How?
I
don't know. Sometimes there's places and you're just like, wow. While I was working there, my mother got really sick and was going to have open heart surgery to repair a valve. Obviously, a risky procedure. So when my mom got the date for her surgery, I went to my manager and gave her a basic breakdown of the situation and told her I would need 4 days off so I could be with my family. She says no problem, but just to play it safe, I sent multiple texts confirming and reminding her that I had those days off. She always responded with, yeah, no problem. So I'm thinking everything will be fine. Nope, I was dead wrong.
Turns out there was a problem.
Turns out bad manager continues to be bad.
Rat manager.
Yeah. The week before my mom's surgery, the schedule came out and I was scheduled every single day I asked off. I immediately went to my manager and asked what was up because she had approved those days off. She then had the nerve to say I didn't request it off at all. I showed her the text I sent.
It's like, who am I texting with then?
Yeah. I showed her the text I sent confirming the time off and her responding to all of them saying it was fine to prove that, yes, I did put in a goddamn request. And she starts screaming at me, what difference does it make if you're at the surgery? Are you the one doing the surgery? No. So there's nothing you could do about it, and it's going to have the same outcome whether you're there or not.
Okay, first off, you don't know if I'm not doing the surgery or not.
Yeah, I'm secretly a surgeon.
Yeah, but also, what a person.
Yeah, you're just like what no
if,
empathy.
Let's say, because it is an invasive surgery, it's repairing a valve. Let's say something goes wrong. And then you're not there, right? And they're like, "Oh, what's the difference?" Oh, the difference is I could see my mother before anything happens, just in case.
Yeah, like have some empathy.
Also, the person who's getting surgery, it's very comforting to be like, "Hey, I'm not here alone in this sterile hospital."
Yeah, there's so many reasons. She also started to rattle off about how I needed to be a team player and that I'm really hurting the restaurant by refusing to come in on my scheduled days.
The restaurant that is known for food and has rats?
Yeah.
I doubt it.
It's all your fault.
Yeah.
I literally saw red. I said nothing to her and went back to work. It was happy hour, one of the few times we got busy, and I was the only bartender on staff that day. I had a bunch of drink tickets piling up, and it was just a total show. I'm also not on my A game because of everything that had just happened. At this point, my manager shows up behind me. She starts screaming at me that I'm fucking everything up and I need to work faster and that I need to stop bringing my home drama into work.
What?
Oh, she's just a bad person.
Mm-hmm.
I just stood there stunned as she screamed at me. Then, before I realized what I was doing, I walked out of the restaurant and never went back. That's the appropriate response to that. You can find another job. And
especially as a bartender.
Person, yeah.
There's a bunch of, if not bartender, you get bar back, then you become bartender, The idea that, you know, anyone should feel sorry for leaving a job. I mean, like, yeah, sure, give them notice, but like the whole like
this
2 week,
situation,
1 week, whatever, you know, like especially in this, I'd be like, yeah, dude, boom, apron done, I'm out.
Bye.
I'm going to spend time with my mother.
Yeah, not in this rat-infested restaurant.
Also, I'm calling health
Yeah,
inspector.
get that place shut down. That's it for Delve Deck Stories. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, you can like and subscribe. And if you would like to share one of your stories with us, you can go to share.delvedeck.com and pick up one of your own Delve Decks.